and the goal is to bring you your next favorite band.
Thanks for having us. This is a very cool show.
Yeah, so through many iterations, and we finally landed on the weirdest one by far.
Yeah, simple of feelings, and boom, you got a song.
I remember this one time. I had been writing some songs, and I went out. I'm just going right in on this story. I went out, and so I was.
The story's longer than the song itself. We'll go ahead and play it.
And listen, it's going to be everybody's favorite band. Welcome to your next favorite band. That's both the show title and our promise to you. We here at Stereophilia Studio are tireless in our pursuit of finding incredible, genre-defiant artists who are either a hot, up-and-coming band or a group that has been delivering for years but have flown under the radar. Tonight, we enjoy highlights from the promotional interviews of all 8 musicians that are part of the Singers-Songwriters Circle, Nashville Meets Bethlehem. Each month, we will bring you live streams, audio podcasts, and perhaps even a live concert where you can listen to the stories and hear the music of artists personally curated by us based on what we feel will be worthy of your time. Be sure to subscribe and tune in to each episode because the possibilities are endless and you never know who will be your next favorite band. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Philip Reese.
Hello, and I'm your co-host, David Moore.
And you are listening to...
Your next favorite band.
You might have several next favorite bands today.
It's possible we may be just stacking the deck.
Correct. Your next favorite band.
Oh, I think like 7Zs is probably available definitely as a URL.
Correct.
And also that's how all the cool kids do it now.
True. Too true. Anyway, hello, David.
Hello, Philip. How are you?
It's an exciting week. I am 5 days, maybe 5 days post shoulder surgery. As you can see, I'm in a sling.
Yeah, Phil is going to be ready for spring training. It's the joke I made with him so that I can get my fantasy league all sorted out. So it should be good to go.
Correct. I timed it perfectly so that I can be there for opening day.
Right. I mean, when the pitchers and catchers report, you'll be ready to go.
Correct. So yeah, all good there. No worries. But it's made things a little challenging. But yeah. So working through that. But it's an exciting week and a very cool episode today that kind of sets up. It's a promotional one for this coming Friday. So first time we're kind of doing something like this, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a really neat opportunity, and not just for what we're doing, but for someone who appreciates music. If you're a fan of music, this is an opportunity for you to both see a smattering of different types of artists, but at the same time, you get to sort of get a bit of insight. And if you've never been to a songwriters round, this is also something that's worth watching because it's a really fun experience.
Yeah. We were approached by Gerard Longo earlier this year. Gerard, who is now in Nashville, previously a Bethlehem resident, went to Moravian University, started a podcast while he was there, and then continued it after graduation called the Quinn Spinn. He started a music blog, I guess you might say, from back then called Lehigh Valley Underground. Got some nice momentum off of that, moved it all to Nashville, called it Underground Music Collective, continues to do this and home and so reached out to us and said, do you want to kind of collabo on this and co-produce the evening? So we were able to contribute to the curation of the performers and kind of help with the promotion here. So like we've been kind of basically saying, is this coming Friday, November 17th, is a songwriters round evening called Nashville Meets Bethlehem. Nashville meaning the style of the evening. So, David, do you want to go into a little bit more detail on what a songwriters round is?
Sure. I mean, I'll keep it short. It is basically a group of musicians. Usually it's 3, 4, maybe 5 will be on stage at a time. and they'll each individually play one of the songs they've written. They'll perhaps either play the song and then tell the story, or tell the story, then play the song. It depends on how they want to unfold it. And the other ones will be on stage with them at the same time. And often they'll respond to it. Every once in a while, they'll join in. It's really interesting to watch all that come together.
Yeah.
But it's a much more interesting way to approach music in that kind of environment.
Yeah. And so for this evening, there's 8 total performers. There'll be 2 sets of 4.
Correct.
To your point where you said 3, 4, or 5. So where we opted to go to was doing 4 performers, but twice. And each set will include either 3 or 4 songs per person. And like David said, it's going to take a turn. Each person plays one song, and then it kind of goes back to the beginning. So recently, we did kind of promotional interviews with each performer. So we have all 8 here. Some Gerard did solo, some I did solo, and some Gerard and I did together. And then basically we took the kind of 8 to 10 minutes of highlights from each one of them to kind of share with all of you this evening to give you a flavor of what these musicians are about. So you're going to get their take on it. You're going to get their kind of like review of what an evening like this will be like. And, we set it up too that the group A and the group B are kind of grouped together here. So we got 4 interviews first. So this first set is going to be the ones that perform first as well on Friday. It features Chelsea Mitchell from Dirty Dollhouse, Carly Comando from Slingshot, Dakota, Mike Roy of Roy and the Secret People, and kicking things off here at the top is Greg Adams from TIOGA. And a cool thing happened with Greg and the show. We had the opportunity to have somebody go to WFMZ. Here's a picture of that. On the Saturday morning show, the Nashville meets Bethlehem kind of had the ability to kind of preview things on Saturday. Bo Colt now, who's been a supporter of music in the Lehigh Valley and of our show, invited us to have somebody show up there. So Greg Adams from TIOGA was kind enough to be able to go and not only kind of promote the event, but also play a song. So that's out there. You can check that out. We've linked to it on our social media, or you can go to the WFMZ website to check that out. But he kicks things off, and then we go to the other ones. So please enjoy the interviews with Group 1 of Nashville Meets Bethlehem, an all-local singer-songwriters in the round.
Back here for another Quinn Spinn Next Favorite Band mashup. My name's Gerard, Longo, a.k.a. the Quinn of the Quinn Spinn Underground Music Collective, and that's Phillip Reese of Your Next Favorite Band. We are joined here today in celebration and anticipation of Nashville Meets Bethlehem, and all local Nashville-style songwriter night at Steel Sax by Greg Adams of TIOGA, who is one of 8 artists performing that night with us at Steel Sax. First of all, Greg, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure. And again, we're both, I know, big fans of you and the band, and just really happy to have you join us on this night and join us on the show. So before we get started, just going to give you a chance to introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Greg Adams. I am the lead singer, guitarist, and keyboard player for TIOGA. TIOGA is a indie rock outfit from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We've been together for 7 years now. So I'm super passionate, obviously, about making our music and putting things out that people will enjoy and listen to and relate to, and hopefully tell me about how our music made them feel or what it made them think about. That's the kind of stuff that gets me writing, gets me performing.
One question I've been asking everybody on the lineup, and I'll ask you the same. We have a lot of different artists from different walks of life, different sounds, different styles, all coming into the mix here. And for a scene like the scene in Eastern Pennsylvania, the Lehigh Valley area, of course, Philly, being close by, what is a night like this where you have so many different sounds, styles, artists coming together? What does this do for the overall musical ecosystem in your estimation?
So I think it's healthy, first of all, to get out of your echo chamber. I think today, whether it's, you're talking about the music scene or the bands that you play with or what you consume on the internet, we're prone to kind of just be in these positive feedback loops and receive the same stimuli over and over again. And I think what that can do, if you're not careful, is it can kind of drive you into the same ruts, and you never cover any new ground. You never see anything else in a different lens. So I think when you can get together, 8 artists who may or may not have varying walks of life, points of view, musical influences, I think, it'll make for a great show, but also, can inform and inspire everybody on the cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The catalog that you have is wide ranging and to pull from. But also you have new music that's been starting to get released as well. So I wanted to ask if there were any either hints or teasers or anything you can provide. Obviously, you're going to want to keep something secret, but anything you want to kind of throw out there for people to make them want to show up that day.
Yeah. So I don't want to commit to anything because I haven't decided this yet. But when I was thinking about the set that I was going to put together for this show,
8.5-minute Dream Eater.
There you go. Yeah. When I was thinking about the set that I was going to put together for this show, I thought back to it wasn't even the first TIOGA show. It was like the first show that I had played when I was 20 years old. And not the first show I'd ever played, but the first show I had played in Philadelphia as an adult. I had been away from live music for 2 years. My friend from class at the time was booking shows in North Philly, and I knew that he was booking shows in North Philly, and he was running the DIY scene in Philly. And I said, I just want to get back on the horse again. I want to do live music again. Can you put me on a show and just have me open for whoever? So he put me on a show opening for a band called Sundressed, which is a band from Phoenix, Arizona area, I think. And it was a North Philly basement, and I had a bunch of cover songs prepared. And I told him that, and he said, that's probably not what you're going to do. It was mostly original music. So I wrote 3 or 4 songs in 2 days just to have something to perform.
That's awesome.
And then after that show, he was like, wow, we should start a band. And that was Derek, who's the guitar player in TIOGA. And we started a band, and 7 years later, etc. He's in my wedding. We're still making music together and whatever. So when I was thinking about what should I play, I kind of had that emotional full circle.
Sure.
Should I just write 4 songs?
Or you could just play the covers that you were planning.
Yeah, maybe.
What a twist.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. We're we're sitting on a pile of 15 songs that we're in the midst of having mixed and mastered right now. I've already started kind of working on the music that's going to come out after this music that's not even out yet. So I might do one of those songs,
Sure.
Or I might just write something. I don't know.
Or a combination of all the above.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, and Greg, one thing else is Chelsea Mitchell from Dirty Dollhouse is in your same lineup. And we made sure of that because we know that you all know each other, that we thought you guys might chime in with each other's songs. Because we've been sharing this a little bit in these interviews, is one of the coolest parts of a songwriters round is when the other people who aren't at that moment sharing their song kind of join in, because either they're picking up the progressions or they know the song. And so there's that too, that if you listen to the interview we did with Chelsea, she gives you personally a little bit of a hint of what to expect.
Very good. Well, yeah, Chelsea is just somebody that I stumbled across on the internet and fell in love with her whole vibe. And I'm a huge fan of her. I'm especially a huge fan of that first EP that she did. So really great. And I know that she is her music has a special place in your heart too.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to hearing her live.
Yes, and she too has brand new music ready to be released in 24. So it's very cool that we'll be able to bring to some people attending that night all new music if they've never heard anything. But even those people who are familiar with TIOGA or Dirty Dollhouse or whomever, there's new music, like you said, in the mixing phase for both of you that come out and hear brand new stuff that you have not yet been exposed to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, well, thank you so much, Greg, for joining us, not only tonight here on the mashup show here, but also at Steel Stacks on November 17th for Nashville Meets Bethlehem. Before we conclude and let you go, just want to give you a chance to let everyone know where they can learn more about you online.
Absolutely. So we are at TIOGA the band everywhere, TIOGA the band. And I am very, very excited to be participating and can't wait to hear everyone perform and can't wait to have the opportunity to play in front of some people.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Greg.
Thanks
you.
for
joining. Anyway, today's guest is a very good friend of the show. Very good friend of mine, Mr. Mike Roy, the frontman and chief songwriter of Roy and the Secret People, who are one of 8 acts performing with us at Steel Stacks in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, next Friday, November 17th, as part of Nashville Meets Bethlehem. I am joined by the one and only Mike Roy, the frontman of Roy and the Secret People. And so there's a lot to catch up on, of course, especially with the band, so since you were last on the show, Roy and the Secret People, of course, has kept moving on strong. But there have been some lineup changes, some sonic changes as well. And it's really exciting because I got to catch at Music Fest your acoustic set in the oven that is Lagerplatz.
Yes, the oven. It's so hot in there. Oh, my God. My sweat is sweating.
Yeah. I remember coming up to you afterwards and you were just drenched in sweat because that was I think the hottest day of the festival too. It was toward the end.
Of course it was. Of course.
Yeah.
Never
and
failed.
It was so hot in there, but you guys burned it up on the stage as well. And so people who maybe haven't listened to Roy and the Secret People in a while might notice some new elements sneaking their way into your music. So update us on what's been going on with the band and what we can expect from your sound here.
Well, I would say the update is over the summer we released 2 singles. Actually, at the beginning of this year we released a single, but over the summer we have 2 new singles we've been working behind, which are going to come off of a new record that we're working on. We did have a slight lineup change, as usually happens at some point within the Secret People, which is why it's the Secret People, and it kind of just as a rhythm section, it really just focused in a lot more of it's an avant-garde driving kind of a rhythm. So it's I mean, everything was great. We just started writing, and then all of a sudden we started writing all this new music. And so everybody was morale was high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
it's amazing to see what the new players add into the mix, that gives a diversity to the overall catalog, and that's the beautiful part about having the Secret People is you can add different people into the mix, different sounds into the mix.
Yeah.
Tell us about the new music and what you were able to bring to the table here after so long between releases.
There was just a lot of ideas floating around, a lot of writing. There was a lot of songs that were started and stopped, a lot of songs that were kind of recorded and thrown away. It was a very busy, and I want to say it was productive, but didn't feel productive for a long time, only because we really weren't solid on one idea to finish it through, and then everybody felt good about it and released it. So kind of in the way, I think the universe kind of wiped the slate clean. Everybody came back in, and like I was saying, there was a new chemistry of especially the groove between the bass and the drums. And we recorded over at Westwire Studio with Wayne Becker, and that was a great experience as well. He's a really good, talented guy. And so so we just started. In fact, what's funny is Life Is Happening, the last single we just did, was actually we threw that song away.
Really?
Yeah.
So what made you bring it back out?
We brought it back out because we were bored. We were bored at rehearsal. Not bored of but I mean, we were kind of like slogging through all the material. And I was like, you remember that one song? I forgot what we were calling it. I think it was called Hey Love or something. And the lyrics were different. And yeah, we remember that. And I'm like, Pete, play that on the drums. And it just clicked. And I'm like, dude, this song, like, you're killing this song. You're making it into something that wasn't there. And so we kind of just took that, ran with it, finished the tune, went in the studio, kicked it out, put it out, and it's just been like blowing up for us on different radio and podcasts and Spotify and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, super exciting homecoming, all-star local lineup and regional lineup, or at least locally tied lineup. And what it is, it's a songwriters round. It's 4 acts on stage at a time. One plays a song, the next plays a song, the next plays a song, the next plays a song. Go back to the top. Everyone plays 4 songs. Those 4 come off. 4 more go on. Same thing. We have a wonderful night. Everyone's selling merch, packed house. Everyone's happy. And so many different styles, genres, showing the melting pot that the Eastern Pennsylvania region is music. So for you, as a veteran of the scene up there, as somebody who's been there and has been really a prominent figure in that region, what does an event like this do for arts and culture and music in the Lehigh Valley?
I think something like this is definitely puts more of a magnifying glass on, because I mean, I know Billy and Carly and obviously Beautiful Distortion and those cats. And I think what this does is it kind of takes everything and puts a little bit of that, magnifying glass on the actual song, like the songwriters and the songs, and you're hearing them without, almost like as if they were written, like when they originally were written, because it's usually everything is broken down. And I think I think it's exciting to, especially the fans of those acts, to hear these kind of presentations of certain songs that they may have only heard produced on a record, or, with a full, loud bells and whistles live. And I don't know. I think this is just a very exciting thing. I mean, I've done a few of these in the past. They've always been great. We did one in New York City long time ago, years ago, and it was just like, it's everybody who's there feels like they're a part of it. You're able to listen to the words. You're able to, pick out the different nuances of, where the changes are and stuff, because everything is pretty much just open. You're not covering it with, a bunch of rhythms and stuff like that, which is cool, but, I think and I think a lot of the other acts around the area go, oh my God, there's actually somebody who gives a crap about, the people that write these songs. It's not just you're going out to see these bands just banging away, which is fun and we love it. It's but it's a cool time and place for then the other side, the actual seed. You're looking at the seed of the tree, and you're not just sitting under the tree. It's I don't know. It's a cool. I don't know. I find it very refreshing, and I'm always excited to be a part of anything like this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So. And as we were putting the lineup together, the focus was on putting acts together that wouldn't normally play on the same bill. Right. Like, and you have some typical overlap, like Billy and Bobby, they collaborate. Bobby actually joins Billy for the DMB tributes. But where else can you see Billy Bauer and Mike Roy and Carly from Slingshot, Dakota, and Bobby, an R&B and soul artist, and like all these different styles mixing in the pot and like really letting the songs breathe, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's that, right? And then there's the fact that you all have different audiences, and now the different audiences get to know each other. They get to know the different acts. Everybody
Yes.
walks away having built more awareness of the songs as they were written and the talent that's there behind them. And that's exactly what we wanted to do, was really like break down the silos, because I think in any music scene, you know, in any ecosystem, like it's easy to just kind of stick with what you know. Well, we love you here, Mike Roy. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
We'll see you next week as of air date, of course, and very excited. Nashville meets Bethlehem coming up at Steel Stacks November 17th. I'll be back to do my whole outro spiel in just a minute.
Awesome. Looking forward.
And we are so excited to be bringing you the various songwriters that will be part of the Nashville Meets Bethlehem show. Today we have from Slingshot, Dakota, Carly Comando. Carly, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello! Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Slingy D will be in the house, or at least half of it.
We'll both be there, but Tom will be silent for once.
And is he going to wear the bodyguard outfit again?
Probably not. So for anyone listening, not understanding what we're talking about, there was a music industry event at the Ice House, and my bandmate / husband, drummer, Tom, came and he thought it'd be really funny to dress as like an industry, like a scouting executive. And he cosplayed pretty hard, but like most people didn't know who he was. So I think people thought he was a legitimate, like greasy dude trying to scout out the talent. So it was even better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he has something he comes up with for the show on November 17th at the Arts Quest building.
One more reason to show up, everybody.
There you go. You never know what Carly's arm candy is going to do.
That's right.
But other things that people won't know what you're going to do is the music you're going to play. So for those of you who don't know Slingshot, Dakota, we have we've featured you on our show before, whether it was Music Fest recaps or previews. And also on kind of like Lehigh Valley music to know type stuff. We've always wanted to make sure people hear your music. But in case they don't, it's a duo that sounds like 9 people on stage. Carly plays keyboards, Tom plays drums, and it is a fantastic, cacophony of sound and beauty in ways. But on this night, it's going to be just you and the keys, which is going to be such a nice treat for people. So for people who do know, they're going to want to check this out as well.
Yeah, it's a nice way to get your face melted in a more gentle fashion than you're used to.
A gentle face melting. But yes, absolutely. But why don't you share a little bit about kind of like the background of your sound, and then if you do want to share any kind of like teasers for what they might expect.
Sure. Forward to about 2006, it's just me and Tom practicing. Our guitar player has left, and we're like, oh, what do we do? Because like our sound is completely different. And I wasn't really writing lyrics as much. I was mostly kind of singing along with our guitar player, who was the main songwriter, lyric writer, everything. And so I basically took over all of the duties of songwriting, of singing. And that's when the whole process of what's my tone going to be began. And still to this day, I have a picture on my computer. It's like on my external hard drive that my friend Ryan O'Donnell made for me. Because I was like, what do I do? How do I make this band loud? Like Tom has no volume control. How am I going to combat this?
Right.
What do I do? And so my friend Ryan basically drew up with like MS Paint this image where it was like a keyboard with 2 amps, like an AB switch pedal and a distortion pedal. And essentially based on this like really terrible pixelated image, it's kind of like what made my setup temporarily, because I didn't know anything. I wasn't really a gearhead. I was just doing this band. I loved it. And I was really strong in terms of my setup with that, like with that band lineup. So having to change all that stuff, it really made me have to reconsider everything that I was doing up to that point. So yeah, I started experimenting with amps. I started experimenting with getting a subwoofer, different distortion pedals, because when you're running a digital signal through a distortion pedal, it's not going to have the same effect as like a stringed instrument. So even to this day, it's still like a process that I'm always trying out new gear, returning stuff because it doesn't sound as good as I thought it would.
Right. This sounds like a real like caterpillar into butterfly type metamorphosis.
It really is. When people ask us, how long have you been playing like with me and Tom? Slingshot Dakota has been around since like 2003, 4. But my version with Tom has been around since 2006. But I also feel like if you're really asking us where we found ourselves, I would say like 2016. Yeah, you know, because I feel like that's really where we found our sound. That's where we found our strength. Sure. We started really being aware of our tones.
And also we should mention too, again, if people aren't aware, like you've been talked about in like Rolling Stone magazine and have had a lot of accolades here all over the place. So like this is a sound that people want to pay attention to. And then kind of just downshifting us a little bit into perhaps this different sound that'll happen on the 17th. The other thing people should be aware of is two things. One, you're also writing music, piano-based music for documentaries and films. All that. And then the other thing you do piano-based is you take modern music and turn it into wedding processionals as another piece of what you do. So people should check out the processional professional.
That's right. Good job.
and it's not only fun, but if you are getting married, it could be something you'd be interested in. So there's that. But any teasers for what might happen on the 17th?
I mean, I just think you are going to enjoy being able to hear the lyrics in a different way, because when me and Tom are performing, there's so much energy and passion involved. And it's very authentic and very genuine. But I also feel like when you get to hear a band in a different way, especially in a stripped down way, it kind of gives you permission to really hear the lyrics in a new way as well. And it also gives me the ability to kind of sing them in a different way versus kind of like competing with our own volume, which, you know, that's like our sound, but it's also really fun just to kind of be able to articulate things a little bit differently.
Well, we are so honored to have you there, and can't wait to hear it. I'm going to be fanboying out myself. Like I can't wait to sit there and listen to you and all the other super talented singers, songwriters, kind of regale everybody with songs. So Carly, thank you so much for joining us today, and can't wait to hear you perform on November 17th.
Thank you so much for having me. Can't wait to see everybody.
All right. See you then.
See ya.
Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to having you all join us on Friday, November 17th for the Nashville Meets Bethlehem Songwriters Round featuring all local artists. And today we have Chelsea Mitchell from Dirty Dollhouse. Chelsea, thank you so much for joining us here today for a little bit of promo, but also for being a part of what should be a very special evening.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for inviting me. It's something I'm really looking forward to. I haven't been part of a songwriters round in many years, but I do remember there's a special energy in the room.
Definitely.
When a bunch of songwriters gather with just open hearts and open ears, and with the audience too. Like it's about the songs and the lyrics and the craft that night.
For
sure. You're getting a taste of how everybody else's hearts and brains work. And it's really, really special to like not just get an hour of one person's life and perspectives, but like I don't even know a lot of the people that I'm going to be. So, I've done.
But that's even another reason why we're doing these little kind of mini promos for the purpose of like the audience members who might be going because they're a big Dirty Dollhouse fan, but have never heard of Roy and the Secret People, or or people who are just maybe wanting to know a little bit more about the artists that they know the music of, but to get a little bit of a peek into their backstory. So that's some of what this is about, and it'd be really cool too to kind of see, like you said too, like Gerard and I, when we were chatting about this opportunity, we're going to be fanboying out huge because it's all a bunch of bands that and songwriters that we're big kind of fans of, but also the exciting opportunity to see you all get to know each other, I think is going to be kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. I love meeting other people in the craft.
I mean, that's something we always talk about within these interviews, is just how hard it is to be a creative, to build up this music that's such a part of you, to then put it out in the world. It's just got to hurt over and over and over again.
Yeah. Well, it becomes, at first it's healing to put songs out like that and write them. Like, I think the catharsis is the act of writing the song and getting it out there and like putting words to your feelings. And then the rest of it is just purely like performance.
Sure.
Unless you're still actively going through that situation, you can just take this little bit of art that you made and share it with different people who may have a different reaction to it. Or, I've written a lot of songs about a lot of things, and I'll know exactly what I meant and what was happening to me. But, I'll write a song about my own loss, and actually at Music Fest, last year or the year before, a man came up to me and said, that song really touched me. It just made me think of my wife who died. And it's like, okay, I've never had a wife and haven't lost a partner in that way, in that permanent way. And that's like a special moment. No one's ever said that to me.
That's
like,
super cool.
You were meant to hear that song today. Then it's something I wrote 3 years ago, but today you heard it for the first time. You had your feelings about it. And that's the magic. Like,
certainly.
I was sobbing when I first wrote that song, and then it just becomes like, okay, this is like a little one woman play that I perform every
That's exactly
night.
Right.
And it's not as raw anymore, but to somebody just hearing it, it is that raw. And they're experiencing those emotions actively or for the first time with you.
Yes.
And that's one of my favorite things about music is the connection. It starts out from a very solitary place for a lot of us, as I'm sure the people who are sharing the stage this month will agree. Like, we spend a lot of time alone with our feelings and our instruments, and then maybe bring it to our band, let a couple more people in on the secret, and then
I love that.
Then you're performing it in front of people, and when you're at that level, when you're at that stage of the performance, you're like, okay, well, now it's no longer my little secret. It's no longer my thing that made me feel better or made me feel in touch with myself. It's all of yours. And maybe it's about my dad, but it's about your wife, or it's about your dog, your whoever, whoever you attach these feelings to. And sometimes we all get so in our heads and we feel like no one could possibly understand this. No one's going through what I'm going through. No one could understand this. And music shows you just how wrong you are.
Sure. That's very true. I mean, I think songs have that a lot of times music being referred to as that universal language, but also these universal emotions that do make you just simply in touch with something. And for that person, maybe they weren't even expecting to have that memory or that feeling that day. They just came to Music Fest to enjoy the music, and suddenly they're thinking about that loss again. But it can be in a bittersweet way. It's helping them move through it instead of maybe denying it. So anyway, I have such an appreciation for the magic of music when it comes to moments like that. So that is very cool.
Yeah. It's just a bridge. It's a bridge between between all of us, people who seemingly have absolutely nothing in common. There's always common ground to be had.
Certainly. Yeah. So your music, your sound kind of does have that. So this event got named by Gerard, Nashville Meets Bethlehem, more for that style, like you were talking about before, these songwriters rounds. So it's a very Nashville style. That's what we were kind of referencing with the title. But in the case of your music, it almost has a Nashville style to it. Not country. I always struggle to put genres on musicians and don't even really want to in the first place. It's something that the show is famous for trying to avoid. Yeah. But just so people maybe have a point of reference, it is very much in a singer-songwriter style with that little bit of a Nashville kind of undertone. If I don't know if you want to expand upon that.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's not something I set out to do, I don't think, is become my inclinations always lean towards the songs that I think that touch me somewhere in here that are not just like fanciful dance hall whatever. Like love that. Love Taylor Swift. Love
right.
You know.
But that would be like turning to Monet and say, why don't you paint more realistically?
Right.
Like you're an artist and it is your art.
Yeah, it all tends to head back to this like Patsy Cline and Johnny Cash, even like Roy Orbison.
So that was exactly what I was going to reference is like anyone who follows the show or any of my social media know I'm a huge Chelsea Mitchell fan. And anytime I use I either play the music for somebody or I say what your voice sounds like it's a little bit of Roy Orbison and Joni Mitchell together. And anyone who I ever say that to says, you're absolutely right. So if anybody needs a recruitment effort to why they would want to come see not only the whole evening, but your set in particular, it's because your voice is that angelic.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I've listened to a lot of Roy and I've definitely listened to a lot of Joni.
The aforementioned TIOGA band is also a big fan of Dirty Dollhouse. And one of the best parts of a songwriters round is when the other musicians who are not at that moment performing kind of join in. They chime in either because they're just feeling the vibe or they actually are fans of that music themselves. So I would not be surprised. I actually made sure that Gerard put Greg Adams from TIOGA and you in that same set because there's 8 people involved that night and it's 2 sets of 4. So I was making sure that Greg was in your set because I have a feeling he might join in with some of your music.
Yes, we were chatting about this earlier, and Greg, everything is going to be a polka that night. So just be ready.
Yeah,
I'm heading in a very different direction.
Get your time signatures ready. Yeah, that would be the other thing is to just mess with them and do it in 6/4 or something like that.
I could.
So even though you're mentioning that you're not a spring chicken or what have you, you do have brand new music that's ready to come out, right? Coming out in January. Let's just say early 2024.
Early 2024 for sure. We're heading into mixing now, and
it's very excining. And you just recently released 2 other albums re-released on vinyl, which is very cool.
Yeah. So you can now get Vinyl Child.
Which only makes sense that got put on vinyl.
Right. Well, that one I was already on vinyl. So there's Vinyl Child and Queen Coyote kind of packaged together and presented really beautiful by Renaissance Records.
Yep.
Very lucky that they sought me out and wanted to do this reissue, and
yes, congrats on all of that.
Thanks. Yeah.
So for that evening, anything you would want to tease out? I know you may want to keep some things secret, but anything you would want to kind of tease the audience on what they might experience during the parts where you perform? Different versions of song. I mean, like anything there, or any of the new stuff, or you're going to keep that secret?
I think I'm going to try to do some older stuff and some newer stuff. I I've noticed a lot of my newer material I wrote very much with the band in mind
I
to
gotcha.
like
Yeah,
back
yeah.
it up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm really grateful to be invited, especially back to Bethlehem.
Mm-hmm.
I love Bethlehem, but I know you ask anybody in my band, and that's our favorite place to go.
That's awesome.
Like, you can't beat the music lovers in Bethlehem because
Sure.
they take it one step above. It's not just supporting local artists. It's like, we're buying your merch. We're going to your website. We're asking you about stuff after the show. We want to talk. I think it's so lovely, and makes people like me who aren't in that echelon of we have a tour bus kind of life.
Right.
It makes people like me feel like, okay, driving around with my guitar in my back seat and some vinyl in the trunk is still worth it after all this time. It's still worth it for these experiences.
That is so cool. Yeah, Bethlehem does have a special listening public. They definitely love their music. There's some great venues, and Arts Quest is a great supporter of all that as well. So it'll be a terrific gathering. So hopefully people can join us Friday, November 17th. And,
let's do it.
It's going to be a really special night, especially Chelsea Mitchell, Dirty Dollhouse. Thank you so much for joining today, and can't wait to see you on the 17th.
We'll see you then, Phil.
Absolutely. So there you have the first grouping. We're calling it Group A, not because there's only because the other group being Group B. I'll bring up the image here real quick. As you can see there, it's Beautiful, Distortion, Billy, Bauer, Bobby Siegfried, and Brontë Fall. So we just thought it was perfect that we could call that Group
It's really a simple filing system.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So Group A there, some great moments. I thought it was a lot of fun there, and always good to reconnect with people who have been on the show, and then some people who are going to be future guests.
Yeah, it's really nice to get a little touch of all of the artists and what their hopes are for, and what their experiences are with this type of event before, because all of them have had some experience with this before.
Yeah, and so universally, they singer-songwriters seem to love this format, and universally seem to love Bethlehem. Like, there was lots of great praise for the audience members of the listening public of Bethlehem music goers.
Yeah, well, look,
Concert goers.
A compliment's a compliment. We'll take it kindly.
But real quick before we get into Group B, during Friday's performances in this break, we are actually going to have a moment where we're going to talk about the Winter Wonder Jam. So for those of you who will be there, we're going to start to announce to the people who are in attendance some of the performers who will be part of the day. So shortly we'll be announcing them, out on social media and on our website. But we're giving the people who attend on Friday a little bit of a sneak peek into some of the live performances who are booked and the recorded performances that are committed to. So yeah, we're gonna that's a little tease right there.
And just in case you didn't see the graphic, it is our Winter Wonder Jam is on Sunday, December 10th.
Yes. Yeah. And it is live from Godfrey Daniels.
Correct.
So if you'd like to be there in person, there'll be a sign-up sheet. Eventually, it's free. We ask for a donation to New Bethany Ministries, but we are going to just keep track on a sheet. So when that's out there and you want to be there in person, just fill that out. But anyone can kind of tune in on the live stream and maybe sit down and watch it, or have it on in the background while you're wrapping presents or something. It'd be kind of a nice thing with all the. What I love about it is we often get original holiday music, so it's bringing new stuff that you have never heard before, because it's not only these musicians that are up and coming or under the radar, but it's also their version, not their version. Like, they wrote a song about whatever the season means to them, and it's very cool because it's very hard to find, high quality, new holiday music. So that's something that I love about that day.
Yeah, it should be a good time. We had a great time last year. This year should be probably even better. We have a better time slot, in my opinion. So it should work out better for how that all comes together.
We gave ourselves a better time slot.
Yeah, when you get to schedule it yourself, you take control of those things.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think too, we're getting better at it. So not only just picking the better day and time, but also the format of the day. I think we're getting better at that stuff.
We'll wear pants this time. So, we've got all sorts of new rules that we've put in place.
HR spoke to us.
That letter was terse.
Okay. So let's get back to Nashville Meets Bethlehem. And let's get into Group B. So Group B includes Billy Bauer, Bobby Siegfried of Chasing Daylight. It is Amy, Karen, and oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name, from Beautiful Distortion. And then Brontë Fall, which is a performance name for an artist that is currently based in Dave, by the way. Dave is the person from Beautiful Distortion. Brontë Fall is based in Nashville, but Fall. Yeah, sorry, Brontë Fall. She is someone who attended Lehigh University and started out her rock and roll career there. Then went to Nashville, continued her life as a musician. And if you remember, we held a spot open. So we curated 7 of the 8 spots and then had one open for a contest that people could submit. And Brontë Fall is the one who submitted and got that 8th spot. So leading things off here is Brontë Fall, and then the remainder of Group B. So please enjoy the second half of Nashville Meets Bethlehem, and all local songwriters in the round.
I am joined here today by Terry from Brontë Fall, who you might know is performing at Nashville Meets Bethlehem at Steel Stacks in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, which we are presenting in conjunction with Your Next Favorite Band podcast. Anyway, thanks for joining again.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for this show.
Me too. I'm excited for this show. I'm excited for the show tomorrow. I'm excited for all the shows.
All the shows, yes.
So anyway, let's catch up. And for those who don't know you,
My name is Terry Bracken, and I have an artist project called Brontë Fall, and I'm an Americana pop artist currently in Nashville, originally from Chicago, and that we have this Bethlehem connection. I think that's pretty cool too.
Which we discovered, I think, in the middle of the first episode that we did together. Yeah.
Yes.
So you, an alum of Lehigh University in Bethlehem, me having an alum of Moravian now University in Bethlehem. Yes, we've become very sophisticated at Moravian. And, I lived there for a bunch of years, of course, still go back, and we're hosting this show. When we were opening up for the surprise 8th slot, you had applied, and it just made perfect sense because it's Nashville Meets Bethlehem. So why not have a Nashville artist with Bethlehem ties on the lineup?
I love it.
So very excited to have you back. And yes, we have a lot to catch up on, of course, musically as well. Last time you were on the show was in the middle of the plague.
Yes.
2020. And we were safely social distanced in the studio. Of course, keeping things safe. But you had just released an album and you were working on Winter, which would then be released in 2022. And of course, touring, not a thing at the time. Live shows, very limited at the time, mostly live streamed.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is, from then to now, what has that process, of going through the pandemic, coming out on the other side, now hitting the road again, and of course, having this new music and these new experiences, how has that shaped who Brontë Fall is to the world?
Wow, that is a really good question.
Going deep.
And I feel like artists they kind of express what they're going through. They express the human experience, right? And so I feel like my music reflects what's going on in the world and then what's going on within me. I feel like Brontë Fall, my artist project, may have said this a couple years ago, but it's based on a poem by Emily Brontë about the fall and the winter and embracing these darker seasons of our lives. And what artists do is they make art out of their pain, right? So that was like kind of winter. There's been a lot of change in a good way, even from 2022, that I didn't notice until this year. Like my friend group, like the relationship I'm in, like everything I went through in 2020, I see the other side of it in 2023.
Yeah.
And so I hope my album will it'll probably reflect my year in grief. And then all these other changes that I didn't see at the time were actually going to be good for me.
Right.
The industry and the creative life, it can be a grind, right? And I feel like I was almost like so exhausted before the pandemic that having that little break was nice, but it made me like reevaluate, like, what am I doing? Do I still want to do this? And then deciding, yes, I do. I love it so much. I will take the hustle. I will take, the hours in the car with my band and the like crappy eating that happened. Like I'll take all the bad because I love it so much.
Right. Once you have a chance to step back and reevaluate that, like, how can I show up better for my community? And that's what's going to allow you to build that community stronger.
Yeah. And that's why I'm so excited to play this show in Bethlehem, because I'd love to connect with local artists in Pennsylvania, in Bethlehem, around Philly, because I feel like a lot of my building is in Chicago right now and Nashville. And you're right. It's all relationships. It's all who you go to support, what shows you go to. Like that is your community. And I love everything you're saying right now. Like you can only move forward together.
Yeah. And I mean, to your point, like that's the exact point of doing this show the way we're doing it, right? Because we have you coming from Nashville who has ties to the area, right? As a Lehigh alum. And we have otherwise a fairly local lineup, right? We have a couple Philly-based artists, TIOGA, Dirty Dollhouse are primarily based in Philly. The rest are from that Lehigh Valley area, Bethlehem, Allentown, Easton, right? But they're all from different segments of the scene, like different genres, different styles, have different followings. So for everybody on the bill, like, and this is how Phil from Your Next Favorite Band and I crafted this bill, was to just have enough different styles, different audiences. So we get these people all in a room, right? Like a big, beautiful musical gumbo, and everybody's learning about each other. The artists are learning about each other. Maybe they're able to collaborate, connect. The audiences are learning about the other artists on the bill and becoming fans. And the best part is it's all original music. So they're learning about their music and they're becoming fans of the songwriting and the original music, as opposed to nothing wrong with cover and tribute stuff, but like it's a different kind of energy, whereas like this is putting the craft at the forefront.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear the different genres of all these artists, because I feel like living in Nashville, there's a certain sound and I love breaking away from it.
Yeah.
And hearing the sound of a different city. So that'll be cool.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like you have to, I think, get out of wherever you live. You got to get out of that echo chamber once in a while. Like you've got to go for some outside perspective.
Yeah, the echo chamber for sure.
Yeah, like so being back in Bethlehem for the first time in a while, of course, you went to Lehigh, but you've never been to Steel Stacks before.
I haven't, and it was being built when I was there, which I think it's so cool that what they've done to it, and turned it into. I played in a rock band when I was at Lehigh. I was in the Philharmonic Orchestra, and then I was in a rock band, and we would play at this local dive bar that's my favorite bar ever. It's called the Fun House.
The Fun House, yes.
Yes. And so Bethlehem just has such a special place in my heart. That was like my dream, was to like sing in a rock band. And I hadn't ever done it. And this guy who was I was a Spanish major, and he was in all my Spanish classes. And so sorry, I'm making this kind of a long story, but his friend borrowed my electric violin for the band and was in his band. And then he graduated. And then Dan, my friend, was like, hey, like, I heard that you sing. I already know that you play violin. Do you want to, like, I went to go pick up my electric violin to bring it home. And then I like happened into their rehearsal and they're like, would you want to sing? Like, would you want to play? And I did. I sang some Gwen Stefani. I sang some Lauryn Hill. And they were like, you want to be in our band? Like, we're playing at the Funhouse on Friday. And it was like, it changed my life.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
The Funhouse changed your life.
It really did. This little frat band at Lehigh, they asked me to play at the Funhouse, and that was one of the best nights of my life.
It's really like exactly what you would expect it to be.
Yeah.
You know, everything you would want a little dive where like rock music happens to be is the Funhouse.
Yeah.
And but they do music there 7 nights a week. Wow. Like still to this day.
Wow.
Still to this day.
It's
a launching pad for a lot of the startup bands, you know, in the region. So it's always fun to hear you talk about the Funhouse and like see where things have gone, because it's like it all started there.
It really did.
Yeah, it all started at the Funhouse and it comes full circle back to Bethlehem.
I know. I'm so excited.
I am joined by not one, not two, but 3 members of the beautiful Distortion playing on Nashville Meets Bethlehem, an all-local Nashville-style writers' round at Steel Stacks on Friday, November 17th in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. You know, for those who aren't familiar, we're actually looking at the vocal trifecta of the beautiful Distortion. Of course, you guys are known for your distinct vocal harmonies and just adding such intriguing layers to all of your songs. But I'm going to give you guys a chance, of course, to elaborate on what you do musically and how the group has come together and evolved over the years, because you've been at this, you know, together for a while. So talk about that evolution and how that has helped shape you guys creatively as well as friends and people.
Well, first of all, I want to ask you, can we copyright the vocal trifecta? I kind of like that, Gerard.
Yeah, take it. It's yours.
Okay,
we need it for branding.
We're gonna use that when we go out and play just like trio gigs, right?
Like November 17th at Steel Stacks.
The vocal trifecta.
As seen on the Quinn Spinn.
Oh yeah,
the vocal trifecta of the beautiful
see
Distortion. We got it. All right, cool. Oh God, where to start? Yeah, so we've been at this with this band for, God, has it been?
It's going on 13 years.
13 years.
Wow.
That is insane to think that that's
we are
true.
so old.
No, but you know, I mean, the story basically goes, you know, Amy and I are sisters, and we were playing together acoustically in the area, and happened to meet Dave through a mutual friend, and hounded him about getting together because we loved what he was doing. He was doing solo acoustic work at the time as well. And we were just like, Dave, come on, let's join together. And he was like, no, I'm doing my own thing. Come on, Dave. And it was like begging over and over. And finally he broke. So I don't know what got you to break.
What got me to break was I actually thought of what this could be. And I remember having the conversation with you guys. We're going to make some music. We're going to bring in some other musician friends and that I've played with. And we're going to make some awesome music. And it's the kind of music that if people like it, great. If they don't, then they aren't going to help. They can't help themselves but take notice. So the vocal harmony is a big part, as you mentioned, of what we do. We try to highlight that in our music, and all of the 3 of us take turns on leads and harmony, backing each other up, and we all write the majority of the music as well. So
the songs also really translate well acoustically, which of course will be the format at Steel Stacks. But we got to see that many years ago and hear that many years ago when we did a First Friday together at Godfrey Daniels. I think that was the first Friday we did under the LVU banner. And like we had you play Godfrey's, and like it just added new life to these songs and presented them in such a different, raw kind of way, and really made you appreciate all the intricacies within the songwriting and within the structure and, you know, everything at play there. You know, so people are, I think, really in for a treat here.
Well, thank you. That's really nice of you to say. You know, you're right about being able to do it in the acoustic format and the electric format. I mean, you know, we're rockers at heart. We love all that kind of music. You know, we grew up with the Seattle sound and like every type of music you can imagine. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, we like the bangers. We like to like, you know, do the horns and like rock out, right? But you know, having being able to do the acoustic thing too, where you're just in a room and you can hear everything, and it's just kind of like, you know, every part is like there and you can hear it and you're just enjoying it and you're immersed in it, is something so cool that not every rock band gets to experience that either. You know what I mean? They can't, not everybody transitions like that. So.
Yeah. And I mean, the majority of our songs, just from a writing standpoint, the majority of our songs, I mean, typically I write with an acoustic guitar, and I'm pretty sure the girls do as well. So everything kind of starts that way anyway.
Wow. What does an event like this mean for such a diverse music community like the Lehigh Valley that maybe people on the outside aren't so familiar with, but, you know, really just has this diverse melting pot of talent?
It is very diverse here.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's awesome. I'm really excited about this night. I don't think any of us have done this writers round type of show before. So we are really excited about it. And to share the stage with the talent that you mentioned.
That's a lot of amazing names on that bill.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we love Billy. We're friends with Billy. Known him a long time. He's a great supporter of us and vice versa. Mike Roy, obviously, Roy and the Secret People. And I don't know some of the others who will be joining us on the stage that night. So I'm really, really looking forward to hearing, you know.
Yeah, the networking opportunity for us, for people to be able to get a sampling of a lot of what the Lehigh Valley has to offer and beyond. I mean, I think it's a really cool opportunity. There's nothing like that really being done up here, so it's very cool.
So thank you for bringing it, because this really is unique. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in the Valley. So Steel Stacks is the perfect place to have it. You know, they're such great supporters of the arts, obviously, and you have great connections there. And we've played in the Blast Furnace room. It's a beautiful room to play with the stacks out the window in the back. I mean, people come to this show. It's going to be a unique, intimate, cool experience that you don't really see around here much. So.
Yeah, and that's exactly, I'm glad you said that, because that was exactly the point, you know, when we were putting this together. And of course, we have to give love to everybody at Arts Quest for helping us, for giving us a place to do this, you know. And, you know, I mean, everybody who listens to the show at this point knows that I've worked there for years, and I still come back and work there sometimes, you know, for Music Fest and what have you. So, you know, the relationship's strong, and that goes a long way, I think, in helping us, you know, put this on, you know, and helping us collaborate to such a degree. That's exactly the point, is to, you know, build, break down the silos, you know, not that the silos are up intentionally, but to, like, you know, introduce people to, you know, different acts that maybe they don't always get to play with, and introduce each other's audiences to the different acts on the bill. I mean, that's exactly it. And, you know, the goal is to have it be something that, you know, helps everybody grow, you know, at the end of the day.
So yeah, I mean, for the audience, this is such a great opportunity for people who might come out and see Billy, right? Billy Bauer. And then, you know, they leave being fans of 3 other artists on that stage, or all of us, you know, because they've gotten the chance to see, to listen to somebody that they never would have gone to see. So you're giving people this opportunity to just get this whole breadth of a musical experience that's going to go from here to here and back to the middle. And then, you know, so we're really excited about it. Thank you for asking us to be a part of it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for being a part of it. You know, you've had some pretty cool opportunities, opening for Disturbed, right, at Music Fest, you know, and really just, you know, really watching your profile raise, you know, there locally, as well as, you know, with these opportunities that are further reaching, has been really, really nice to see, you know, because you're good people, you're great at what you do. And, you know, it's just great to see, you know, you get that recognition. So I just want to know that, you know, you got a lot of people rooting for you, you know, and I can't wait to have this experience take place here at Steel Stacks on the 17th of November, because it's going to be a nice full circle moment, you know, certainly for our whole ecosystem, but also just to get all these people in the room again. It's going to feel like a big old family reunion. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We are continuing the interviews with the 8 performers of Nashville Meets Bethlehem, a songwriters round featuring all local talent. put the graphic up here for people to check out. And today we have for you Chasing Daylight and the front man, Bobby Siegfried. Welcome to the show, Bobby.
Hi there. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Gerard wasn't able to join this one, but as you've seen here through the various ones, there were some that he had to do solo, some I'm doing solo, and some we did together. But Bobby and I go way back, as Gerard does too. So, thrilled to be able to bring you on here and kind of share a little bit of your backstory so that people can get to know it more. One of the things we've been enjoying here is the ability to kind of share with people the stories maybe of the people they already know the music of, but even some of the ones that don't know the music of, because maybe they're tuning in because they like, Dirty Dollhouse or, Beautiful Distortion. And now they're like, well, let's learn a little bit more about Chasing Daylight. So if you don't mind, let's just start right there and get a little bit more into your sound and a little bit more into your songwriting.
Sure. I'm basically I'm an indie soul, R&B pop singer-songwriter. It always sounds like a lot to put together, but
right,
it kind of took a while to settle on that. I kind of, I'm a piano player first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked up, all your other typical instruments along the way, play a little guitar, bass, drums, and things like that. When you're in high school and you feel like you're listening, every time you play a song, they're like, hey, you sound like the Hill Street Blues. You ever heard that? It's not really one you want to hear when you're a teenager growing up in the turn of the millennium.
I can imagine. Yeah, that would be like a soul
you just
killer.
learn to play all the instruments yourself and record yourself at home. I'm like,
Yeah.
cool, no one's ever going to want to make music with me.
Yeah. All respect to the creator of the Hill Street Blues theme song, which was pretty money.
I love.
Right.
So,
but you don't want to be compared to it when you're 17 years old.
no, but now I don't mind because it's amazing to see how diverse music has become,
Mm-hmm.
and it's actually been the last 5, almost 10 years or so have been the best musical years of my life because I did rock for a while. My first EP was very heavy into rock and kind of piano rock. I was taking a lot of influence from Something Corporate, Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness, those kind of people like Augustana. Like I just loved that sound. I love when the piano showed up in rock, and I wanted to be like the rockiest, piano player there was.
Sure.
But I could never shelf the true like singer-songwriter, soulful, like even ballad, songs. I love writing songs that have a lot of meaning behind them, have a story behind them, something that people can latch on to, something that maybe will, hopefully leave the world a little bit of a better place, or my small corner of it at least.
Yeah, you often say that in your shows where you like be kind to each other. Like where it's a big
be good to
message
each other.
Yeah. And I love that, and that's a good point too. So a lot of times, so for people who aren't familiar with this style, it's almost always acoustic guitars in everybody's hands. And so one of the unique things we have for that night is the fact that you play keys, and so does Carly Comando, which we deliberately then put you in 2 different groups so that there would always be keys up on stage in both groups. So I think that's a pretty cool thing we'll have for that night.
That actually makes me really, really happy. It was one of the many reasons why I ended up really doubling down in the last 5 to 10 years. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use this talent that I was fortunate enough to be given and play the piano and play to my strengths, so to speak. There's a lot of music out there that's starting to sound like that. Like some of my current influences, like bands like Lawrence and Jacob Collier and Coldplay, like very heavy keyboard driven.
Yeah, you and I talk a lot about Ben Folds.
Ben Folds, absolutely. He's a genius.
He is. He absolutely is. But yeah, and then I think the other unique thing we have for that day is there's many different genres. So again, if we pull this up really quick, you mentioned you're kind of like pop, R&B, soul. Billy Bauer is that more traditional singer-songwriter, what you would think of with a guy with an acoustic guitar in his hand. Beautiful Distortion is rock music. Carly Comando of Slingshot, Dakota, we know that what their sound is. It's very heavy as well. Chelsea Mitchell, probably a lot more like that Nashville sound of Dirty Dollhouse. Roy and the Secret People is rock music, and TIOGA is very more like that kind of contemporary alt-pop rock kind of stuff. So a lot of different styles out there. So it should be a very cool evening from that side as well, yeah.
And so I can't wait to see our colleagues play too. I mean, there's some really fortunate to share share the stage with some really incredible talent. Really, really looking forward to that.
Yeah. And one of the nicest things that happens in one of these type of songwriter rounds is when the songwriters who are not in performance in that moment join in with the person who is singing and playing, because either they just pick up, the chords and the progressions and they just want to kind of join in and support, or they do know the music. So for you and Billy play together often enough that you'll be able to really support each other quite a bit, which should bring some really cool sounds and then a really good experience for the audience.
Thank you. Yeah, we hope so too.
Anything, not that you're going to give away any spoilers, but anything you got cooking up for special for the evening?
Yeah, actually, I'm planning on doing 3 unreleased songs.
Nice.
That I have not done before, and 1 song that is brand new that I have not played anywhere before. That I'll be debuting. So
how awesome! But that's a great teaser. So there you go. If you like Chasing Daylight music, you're going to want to be down there Friday night, November the 17th. Starts at 8 p.m. Tickets are on sale now. There'll be links in the show notes, and we'll put it out there. But you can also walk up and get tickets as long as we haven't sold out, which is absolutely within the realm of possibility. That's not just us blowing smoke either.
Let's go, sell it out.
That's right, sell it out. That'll be super cool. But there. So if you like this, you'll be able to hear 4 brand new songs from Chasing Daylight, plus then, like we talked about, all the other great music of other bands that you may or may not have heard of previously, and all are great. Like this has been a fully curated list of local talent, so it should be a lot of fun.
And also, I've been producing for a lot of local artists, and that's starting to get busier. People are starting to seek us out and work with me, and there's some really great music in the Valley, and I'm really excited to sort of take more of a behind the scenes approach to that and really empower some young up and coming talent so that we can enhance the music tapestry of the Valley.
Yeah, that is fantastic. I mean, that's one of the reasons why this type of a show is even working, which we, Gerard and I knew it would, but getting the support of organizations like Arts Quest and then the ticket sales of people who want to see that is super encouraging. But it speaks to just the supreme talent that we have here. We're very lucky to have it. It's balanced also with an amazing listening public that we have here in the Lehigh Valley. Is we've got an amazingly, talented audience members of people who really like to hear good music. So that's the other thing we're excited about too, is the reception of this type of an event, and hopefully the hunger to want to see it more and more down the future. So if people like it, there's many more singer-songwriters we could be bringing on in future events like this.
Oh yeah, you said that perfectly too. I mean, I would say for anybody that's watching, like if you have never been to a songwriters round or to a listening room, like in like a big city like Nashville, where they're known for this kind of stuff, like this is an incredible opportunity that just popped up in our backyard. And Arts Quest seems to always, they always seem to step up and offer those opportunities and offer those places. They do such tremendous work, so far beyond just Music Fest. And I couldn't recommend an experience like this enough. If you are really, a true connoisseur of music and you love discovering new music and getting a chance to meet the songwriters and hear the stories behind, the inspiration behind some of this music, like there's nothing like a listening room. And if you've never been, you've got to try it.
Yep.
And I'm not just saying that because we're playing. Like, there's great talent on this bill, but when you have an opportunity like this, you got to try it.
Agreed.
All right, everyone, we're back here in advance of Nashville Meets Bethlehem and all local Nashville-style songwriter night at Steel Stacks on Friday, November 17th in our hometown of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And joining us, because Phillip Reese, of course, from Your Next Favorite Band, gracious enough to host us on the Restreams.
Hello, everybody.
Is Billy Bauer. Billy Bauer is here from Billy Bauer Band, who will be performing on round 2 that night. Actually, he'll be actually playing the last song of the night, the way I have the stage set up. So no pressure. Got to send us out strong.
Well, that was a mistake on your part.
Batting cleanup.
Batting cleanup.
William Bauer.
We're gonna.
Beautiful.
jamming. We're gonna have fun, boys.
Yes, we are going to have a ton of fun.
So one question that I've been asking everybody in my travels here on the lineup to this point is, we have so many different artists, different styles, representing different, I guess, musical sections of the local scene up there in Bethlehem and the Lehigh Valley. What is an event like this, in your perspective, as somebody who's been doing this for a while up there, how does this bring community together and help create a stronger ecosystem for the musicians of Eastern Pennsylvania?
This is the best thing that has happened to the Lehigh Valley as far as bringing everybody together that I could ever, at least in my career.
Wow.
Yeah.
High praise.
Bold statement.
I don't know how many, I know Slingshot, I don't know how many of the bands have really taken the time to tour out of the area, and this, like what Nashville does is really cool. And I like their singer-songwriter rounds as far as putting multiple people on stage at this time and like getting a little bit of collaboration and just, community between the musicians. That is one thing that Nashville stands out with it. And now that we have this at home here with some, really talented singer-songwriters, this is going to be a really awesome night. If you have the right environment, which Arts Quest, I couldn't, think of a more awesome venue for something like this. So
certainly
it's going to be really cool. And all the writers rounds that I've been a part of have been awesome.
Yeah. And you mentioned Arts Quest, and I do have to give a very big shout out to everybody over there who have been making this such a great experience to put together. Everybody over there, and Shayna, Alex, who's going to be heading up production for us that night. Like they've really helped this come together. I echo your sentiment, Billy, that like there's really no better community partner to put this on with. They've done everything they can to make it successful and continue to do so. And I think we're going to have a great night all together. Big old family reunion there at Steel Stacks.
Because I think everyone, maybe other than Brontë, but I could be wrong about that one, I think everyone else has played Music Fest and other festivals in the area. So it's like, this is all a good representation of what like you were saying, Gerard, the community has to offer, and potentially in a new way for each, because there might be people who are Billy Bauer fans who also know Bobby Siegfried but have never seen a Slingshot Dakota show, or Roy and the Secret People, or Dirty Dollhouse. And there'll be fans of theirs that are showing up that are going to never have seen Billy before. So this is going to be, I think, very special from that regard. And then the musicians will all get to collaborate. Some who already know each other and some who just know each other's music. And my favorite part of a songwriters round is when they all kind of join in together and start playing each other's songs along with them to kind of support them.
Which, to that point, I want to also mention that Billy, you and Bobby Siegfried, who you collaborate with frequently, will be on stage at the same time. And so, obviously, you collaborate a lot.
There isn't this pretentiousness to it. It's just simply, there's the music and here's the talent, and you're going to either love it or hate it, but everyone seems to love it.
I don't know how much talent there is, but I'll tell you, here, man, that's my role. But I love that about Bobby too. So like Bobby Siegfried of Chasing Daylight is just one of those guys that like the way I approach as far as like songwriting and stuff. What happens, like I never really wanted to be a musician, and like these songs and lyrics come to me, and they're like really the better musicians as far as I'm concerned. Like the guys in my band rock. I'm very lucky. Bobby's just one of those guys that like he can play with anybody. He really can. He could jam with anybody. Like he's one of the best improv guys ever. So like I'll throw him on the spot and be like, "Hey man, do you remember this song?" And I'm sure he will, and we'll have so at least a couple songs, Yeah.
Before we let you go, Billy, first of all, thank you for joining us here on this Next Favorite Band Quinn Spinn mashup episode previewing Nashville meets Bethlehem at Steel Stacks November 17th. Before I let you go, where can we learn more about you online?
Just the website, Billy Bauer Band, Bauer. Yeah. Website, social, Instagram, Billy Bauer Band Official, all that stuff. Listen to the music, iTunes and all, streaming stuff. I'm an old man. I still like old school music on CDs and stuff.
Yeah. Well, vinyl is obviously baked back and hopefully here to stay. So we need some Billy Bauer vinyl.
Nothing like old analog stuff. There's just a warmth to it. Like I was gigging at Art Weekend. It just so happened that a lot of their gear was outside for probably Oktoberfest or another festival that they had, and it's amazing. Older mixer. It's not that they're bad. It's just they're just so different. Like even like after hearing digital boards for so long, there's a certain smoothness to like an old Mackie mix. Like awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of CDs, you mentioned that, and I'm on my old laptop right now. And before we go, just want to show you this. This laptop has a CD tray in it, and I opened it up just because I was curious what was in it last week. And look at that! Billy Bauer and Chris Lorenzetti live at Sherman Theater was the last CD that I had in this thing. So, and you can listen to that on the streaming platforms as well. If
that was
interested out there.
What are the odds of that?
Yeah, I opened it up like, I wonder if this even opens or works or what's in here. And
you never know.
Yeah, and it was that because this thing's from like 2015, which at this point is ancient history. And I got a new one in 2020, but that was the last CD that I had ripped to this laptop. So there you go. You mentioned that, and it pinged my memory. So just wanted to share.
That's pretty awesome.
But.
Well, Billy, we can't wait to see you perform next Friday night on November 17th, and hope lots of other people come out to see you and all of the other musicians that are going to be regaling us that evening.
Like it'll sell itself. Like the people that are on stage with me, I'm grateful. I'm lucky. I've worked very hard, and I'm just honored to be on stage with such really, really good musicians. And if you considering coming out, I would advise it. It's gonna be a very unique it's gonna be a unique night for the Valley, I think, and it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
A lot of
agreed.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
You guys are happy. Rad.
Yeah. Thanks for being part of it. Thanks for joining us here tonight, and we'll see you very, very soon, sir.
All right, boys. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
You as well. See you. So there is all 8 performers for the November 17th Songwriters in the Round event called Nashville Meets Bethlehem, brought to you by Underground Music Collective, Gerard Longo, and Phillip and David, your next favorite band.
It almost makes it sound like we're the next favorite band with the way you said that. Phil and I are going on the road with our wash tub, and
so I think you could play bass, and I could just do like spoken word.
Oh, we could do a whole it could be cool. It could be a whole beat poetry thing.
Yeah, I'm thinking like bad soul coughing.
Sure, we'll crash into the Empire State Building over and over and over again.
And that's massive respect for soul coughing, because that's one of my favorite bands from my college years, but I would not do it justice, but I'd have fun trying. Anyway, did not see the Hill Street Blues reference coming. So
no, I didn't have that on my bingo card.
That was a nice one. I always love when there's something super random like that. But yet again, so big time support for Songwriters Rounds and big time support for Bethlehem. The Funhouse got some shout out love there, which was kind of cool. Which means that place has been awesome for years, which we kind of knew, but it was cool to see a living proof of that. So I can't wait to talk to Brontë Fall about that. And what else did we learn?
We learned that all 8 musicians are excited about this. And when that many musicians come together and they're all that excited, you should probably be in that room.
Yes, 100%. And I will say, so we're not just kind of inventing fake energy. There's been a really, really strong ticket sales for this. So there's still time to get tickets, but based on what we see as far as what it is, 1 month out, 1 week out, day of, it's gonna be a rather full room, and that's got a great energy to it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I would highly recommend checking this out, and it's not something that's going to get live streamed. You know, some of the times, like we talked about the Winter Wonder Jam, that's available both ways. This one, not going to be that. It's only in the room, and
you got to be there.
And got to be there. And then I guess the hope for us is that that there would be another one. If it's doing this well and people seem to like it this much, then maybe it'll become an annual thing. So that would be very cool as well.
It would be exciting. Regardless, this event in itself is going to be a good time. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning when we first talked about this type of event, a songwriters round, is a really special way to see a show. So definitely take advantage of the fact if you're in the area to try and get tickets. These are great performers, and it should be a fun evening.
Yeah. So one more time, Friday, November 17th, 8 p.m. And go to we'll have the links in the show notes to get there, but it's on the Arts Quest site or steelstacks.org. You can get at it many, many different ways. But certainly hope to see you all there.
All right, Phil, let's say goodbye to everybody.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of Your Next Favorite Band. We'd like to sincerely thank all 8 of the performers of Nashville Meets Bethlehem. You have Greg Adams of TIOGA, Mike Roy of Roy and the Secret People, Carly Comando of Slingshot, Dakota, Chelsea Mitchell of Dirty Dollhouse, Brontë Fall, Amy, Karen, and Dave from The Beautiful Distortion, Bobby Siegfried from Chasing Daylight, and Billy Bauer from the Billy Bauer Band. And a huge thank you to Gerard Longo from Underground Music Collective and the Quinn Spinn for inviting us along on this journey. It's been an awesome collabo. And we can't wait to kind of stick the landing here and show up on Friday and really enjoy the fruits of all of this labor. But anyway, lots of links in the show notes here, including ways to go buy tickets. Hope you join us for that. And as always, our hope is to bring you your next favorite band. We hope we brought you 1, if not 8, next favorite bands today and this Friday. If you already knew a handful of them, great. And we hope we introduced you to some new ones. We also hope that you like and subscribe so that we can bring you future new next favorite bands in future weeks. But really have a great kind of close here. Some great, upcoming interviews. We have our thankfulness and gratitude banter coming up for Thanksgiving. And then the Winter Wonder Jam in December, which is going to be super duper special. So hope to see you at a live show soon, particularly this Friday.